Our journey returns 11 months after the end of Death Stranding 1. The lovable Sam and Lou return as we navigate the jaw-dropping, photorealistic landscape of Mexico. Sam has to tread lightly as the world of Death Stranding is plagued now with earthquakes. An earthquake would scare even the most hardened of porters. As such, we look to comfort Lou. On the run back to Sam's shelter, the weather starts to be our enemy. Placing down a ladder unlocks my first structure. Sam is in his ultimate dad mode as the two have made quite the wholesome pairing. Placing Lou into bed, the alarm outside triggers. Armed with nothing but a pan, we are ready to fight. The intruder reveals herself to be Fragile. Fragile has a job for us, which involves expanding the chiral network to span all of Mexico. But who could leave this precious child?
Ready, Ike? Kick the baby!
Kick the baby.
Kick the baby.
Officer, I drop-kicked that child in self-defense. You gotta believe me.
Accepting the order sees Sam request Fragile to take care of Lou. This enables us to say,
Adios, amigos.
I settle into the usual package delivery vibe until my new Ring terminal alerts me to a new post. Gone are the days that I browse emails, as the new Social Strand service provides a new way for Sam to get updates, which unlocks a trophy. With Fragile providing such a cute update on Lou, we give it a like, which unlocks It's Like That. I unlock another quick trophy when I use my Cupid to connect our first facility, unlocking Starting Point. A benefit in unlocking the first facility is granting access to our private room. When taking a lie down, Sam is still plagued by nightmares as Lou appears until the extinction entity herself, Amelie, makes a fearsome entrance. When daylight hits, I hit the new training facility, which is delivered fully over virtual reality. After making quick work of the simulation, my first training session unlocks. It's at this moment where the game starts to open up, and our next trophy comes in the form of likes, as I unlock a life worth liked. The first introduction to BTs is rather lackluster compared to the first game, as we need to collect cargo from a BT area. Interestingly, an aid request was noted in the mission briefing. Travelling to the request, I build a Time4 shelter, which unlocks helping people to connect. Thankfully for Sam, his Dooms has leveled up, enabling the ability to see BTs without the need of a BB unit. After taking care of the BTs, we reunite with Deadman, who explains after connecting all of America, a mysterious plate gate appeared in Mexico, which enables instant teleportation to the land down under.
Hey Google, play Max Gone highlights on YouTube.
Okay, playing on TV.
Nice.
The consequence of the plate gate is earthquakes started to plague the world, giving it the name Plate Quake. The leading theory is that if Australia is connected to the chiral network, the plate gate will stabilise and the plate quakes will cease from occurring. Now that my brain is officially confused, the recording of Deadman is officially interrupted by a seismic threat which is threatening us outside. Our first boss comes in the form of a giant head.
Damn, I got a big ass head.
Trying to take down the head, I last about a minute before being consumed, which causes a void out. Oops. All was well on the second attempt as I was able to take down the beast. This is unlike a certain game reviewer who died so much, suggesting that there's not enough depth in the fights, so there's no harm in skipping it. Returning to Deadman, he reveals the origins of Lou are shrouded in mystery, as each BB unit has its own service number, but for little Lou, there has been 2 BB-28s. In Death Stranding 1, Deadman was plagued with the idea that he has no soul, no beach, and thus no afterlife, making him a dead man. His character development seemingly ends as in a bittersweet moment we find Deadman has already passed on to his very own beach. With all of Mexico now connected, we are free to return to Lou and Fragile. To mark this occasion, I place down an online aid request which unlocks promising signs. Along the journey back, Sam receives a security notification that the shelter has been infiltrated. With the pressure mounting, a roadblock appears in the form of mechanized creatures. After taking out the preliminary forces, the backup arrives heading straight for us. That is until a mysterious figure appears who carves through the mechs like a hot knife through butter and disappears before we can ask a question. I would dub this character Raiden due to obvious parallels between the two. When arriving at Sam's shelter, we find a heavily beat up Fragile, who tells us that the shelter was immediately breached. Fragile was able to escape with Lou on her unicycle until she is shot, which causes a disastrous crash. After the events of the first game, Fragile developed a syndrome dubbed jump shock, which put her jumping days behind her. In a desperate situation, Fragile attempted to jump both her and Lou, with the only problem being Fragile couldn't envision Lou as equipment. Fragile tried jumping just Lou out of the situation until a gunshot hit and left a devastated Fragile as the only survivor. With Sam's whole purpose for living now taken away, his psyche snaps. Sam then finds himself called to a mysterious town called Silent Hill. Or in even weirder events, we see BT footprints crawl into a BP pod as it forms into a BT baby. In this tearful moment, the chapter concludes and we unlock a trophy. Welcome to Chapter 2, Lou. 1 month on since Lou's passing, Sam has spent his time in a pit of despair, having lost his grip on reality. Fragile comes to help her friend in this time of need and seeks to extract him from his grief. What she has in mind is joining her new postal service in Drawbridge, which operates a Metal Gear inspired ship that utilizes tar to travel. With Sam turning a new leaf, I unlock a trophy for completing the chapter.
It's time for you to hit the road and start a new journey.
Fragile being the commander-in-chief of the DHV Magellan, we are introduced to the captain and pilot, Tarman, who has the appearance of George Miller, the legendary Aussie director of Mad Max. We are also introduced to Dollman, who will accompany us on our journey. Once we're acquainted with Drawbridge, we travel down to the plate gate. When next to the plate gate, we spot the infamous.
Look up, a whale!
Stepping into the gate, we are magically transported through and spot the mysterious 5 figures that watched over us in the first game. The middle figure gestures that they have left something for us, and before we know it, Sam has arrived in the land down under. Returning to the Magellan, we are introduced to Charlie, who is voiced by Tommy L. Jenkins, also known as President Die Hardman. But with Bridges disbanding, the UCA lost power, which enabled the private organisation Automated Public Assistance Company to rise to power under the new president, played by Alistair Duncan, who you might remember as a certain lovable head.
Big footprint.
The president will be overseeing the operation through Charlie, and our main task is to connect all of Australia to the chiral network. The best thing about the concept of Charlie is that he provides the same narration and support that Die Hardman provided in the first game, making me feel right at home. A new feature is the APAS enhancement system, which provides tangible upgrades which corresponds to increasing connection levels to each facility. When selecting my first upgrade, unlocks self-improvement. With Australia and its inhabitants now opened up to us, we pay a visit to the government's base, the Lone Commander, and the Western Environmental Observatory. I loop back round to the government's base and hand in my first optional order, which unlocks Standard Porter. From the short time I have spent in Australia, one thing is quite clear. It's bloody big, hey.
What happened, mate?
Pardon?
What's going on?
I'm just waiting for a mate.
Is that why your car's all smashed up and you're up on the grass at the moment, or what?
Yeah. I'm just waiting for a mate. He's gone in there. Why?
To help me in the long run, I get cracking to restore Australia's highway system. This unlocks the trophy Road Restorer. Let's just hope the traffic doesn't return. I then travel north to where Perth is intended to be, and I find a mysterious red cult surfacing from the tar. The leader of the group is revealed to be Higgs, And in typical fashion, he subtly breaks the fourth wall to summon our next boss fight, which is in the form of a mysterious mechanized octoid. After unleashing everything I had in my arsenal, I was eventually able to take down the beast. With Perth now bustling, some fellow Eagle supporters wanted to hear about my sweet gazelle in Harley Reid. Once I filled them in, I unlocked the trophy Porters Make the World Go Round. As the chiral network started to populate other player structures, I discovered a generator that was in need of some repairs. After inserting the materials, emergency worker unlocks. One of the shelters I connected to was the musician. He is important as when I return to the Magellan, I unlock the music player and play a song called Horizon Dreamer. Dolman seems to like the song as we're treated to a private show. Once the performance is complete, I unlock a trophy. When opening up a book, Moby Dick, I discover a photo of Tarman with his son. Returning the photo, we are treated to a flashback scene which depicts the moment that Tarman's son went missing. When things had settled, the Tar had taken both his son and his hand.
It's due to my connection with said missing piece that I can read the movements of the Tar. Something akin to a phantom pain.
Returning to the main quest, I make my way to Rainbow Valley, and once the facility is connected, I unlock...
I want you to help us bring Australia into the network.
This leads us to meet one of the more unique characters in Death Stranding 2, in Rainy, played by Shioli Katsuna.
Don't I? A good day.
Bye.
Bye, Yukio.
Rainy was recruited by Fragile, as she was ostracized and exiled by her community due to her ability to summon the rain. This ability will come in clutch, as in typical Australia fashion, a bushfire breaks out, which sees Sam rescuing a kangaroo. We deliver the kangaroo to the animal shelter, which enabled the Magellan to transport to the affected area, and Rainy was able to extinguish the fire. The animal shelter is awesome, as it provides a physical location for us to hang out with the animals Sam rescues. This made me pounce at the opportunity to rescue a bilby. And when I delivered a rescued animal for the first time, Creature Comforter unlocks. What surprised me was the amount of time I spent in the pickup off-roader. I found the off-roader to be extremely versatile, and the extra storage space that was on offer made any alternative transportation methods quite obsolete. It came to no surprise to me that I unlocked Heavy Lifter for delivering over 2 tons of cargo. I then travelled up to the Northern Environmental Observatory, which marked the conclusion of Episode 4, unlocking...
And together we'll show the world the hope in your reign.
Around the observatory, I find a golden chiral creature, and shooting it unlocked Conqueror of the Golden CC. To continue the story, I investigate a Tar anomaly, which results in Sam being teleported away. With Mad Mickelson's character not returning for the sequel, we are introduced to the newest Snake, who is played by Italian actor Luca Marinelli. The reference to Snake dates back to 2020, when Hideo Kojima stated if he were to wear a bandana, he would be a spitting image of Solid Snake. Welcome to Episode 5, Conflagration, which means an extensive fire which destroys a great deal of land or property. This location is definitely the most breathtaking from a cinematic perspective. No frame rate dips or performance loss. Finally, we are in the next generation of gaming. While I was too busy admiring, I nearly missed that a woman was casually walking around. Being in the beach, these instances play out the exact same as the first game, as I slowly dwindle down Snake's health. When he is taken down, he whispers,
Did he say Nirvana? Is he implying this is some sort of...
We then spot the mystery woman. Sam tries to assist, but flying debris hits Sam like the prime promised consort Radahn. When we awake, Sam discovers the girl entombed in a chiralium coffin. To conclude this cinematic segment, I unlock...
Did he say Nirvana?
Look, Mom, your favorite, Nirvana.
Welcome to Episode 6, Chrysalis. Continuing the strangeness, the coffin is revealed to be holding Ellie Fanning's character, Tomorrow. Rainy and Tomorrow are quick to bond as they sing Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head by BJ Thomas. Sam tries to connect by joining in.
Till happiness steps up to greet me. Okay.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red.
After the embarrassment of missing social cues, I go back to what Sam does best and unlock long distance lugger for travelling a total distance of 80 kilometres. For comparison, this is just less than 1/10 of the way from Melbourne through to Sydney. Also, for my American folk, the roads that I had paved from early in the game seemed to be loved by other players. As I logged in on the next day, I received just under 76,000 likes, which saw my social strand fly through the ranks. This also had the added benefit of unlocking a porter at peak popularity. When returning to Magellan, a discussion occurred about how Tomorrow was settling in with the crew. It was suggested at one stage that Tomorrow should be returned to the beach, as it might enable her to feel more at home. Thankfully, this was promptly shut down, but not before Tomorrow overheard the discussion. The following day, we discovered that she had disappeared, with the leading theory being that she has run away. Sam, as a one-man army, decides to venture out and try and find her. A rather large meme in the Metal Gear/Kojima community is the continued focus on people's feet. This phenomenon was first brought to light in Metal Gear Solid 5 with the actress playing Quiet, providing the following insight.
I actually remember they asked to scan my, underneath my feet for a reference when I was at Kojima Productions.
Prior to Death Stranding 2's release, feet was actually used as a criticism when reviewing the game, with the central character taking off her shoes being pointed out in a review. This can be seen with Tomorrow's character, as there's a scene shown in the Magellan which pointed out her dislike for footwear. However, the feet phenomenon arguably peaked when we are able to track down Tomorrow, who showcased her powers through the lack of shoes. With Tomorrow now feeling like she's part of the Magellan family, I thought the feet crisis was over. I was then shocked when I got an urgent call from Charlie.
Sam, I have a top secret mission for you. You need to 3D scan their feet and print them. And Sam, good luck.
To enable me to complete this priority order, I delivered materials to one of the new movement functions in Death Stranding 2, a monorail. This new transportation option provides a quick and effective way to transport everything you could ever imagine along the coastline of Australia. The downside is they cost an arm and a leg and resources to start functioning. Previously, Sam has always been reliant on facilities to generate enough materials to then utilise in construction of structures. Those days are now behind us, as for a fraction of the resources, a mine can be constructed for the low price of only 640 resins and 1,200 special alloys. This price is valid for the game's life cycle, and if you establish now, you will get 900 ceramics free. Yes, that's right, 960 ceramics for free if you construct right now. So call now to take up this limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. With such a proposal, I constructed 2 mines to help fund the monorail. Now that I was overflowing in materials, I was able to construct a 3rd mine, which was connected to a new monorail, which unlocked Rail Restorer and Dig. With our new monorail constructed, I made my way to a familiar friend. When nearing the facility, I unlocked
to our little family.
Sam is reunited with Hartman, who would join the Magellan on our quest to connect all of Australia. Prior to leaving Hartman's lab, I had the impulsive idea to inspect the hole in the wall. Episode 7 Pod sees us departing for the East Coast. One of the stops along the way is known as the Motherhood. Upon entering, I have some awful flashbacks. To recover from the trauma, I take a dip into the hot springs nearby. Unexpectedly, Sam and Dolman broke out in a performance. As a fun trivia note, this song, Liu Dana by the Drifters, with the lead vocalist Chakato taking the appearance of Dollman. The song roughly translates to a nice hot water, which is the perfect song to play while in the hot springs. This song was even in the original Death Stranding, as Sam would occasionally hum the beat.
Ba-ban, ba-ban, ban, ban, Habiba, no, no. Ban, 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 Habiba, biba, biba. Ban, 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 Habiba, no, no.
After the performance, Sam gazed into the stars and spotted a constellation that resembled Lu. This unlocked Written in the Stars. The hot spring continues to surprise me, as when Sam takes a dip, we find ourselves back in Hartman's lab. As a hidden mechanic, the hot spring can be used for fast travel, and it falls onto Sam to literally unearth more hot springs, which unlocks Spring into Life. Australia can now be considered a hot wasteland similar to the beloved Mad Max. Contributing to the wasteland is a new weapon manufacturing facility operated by the mechs seen early in the game. Once destroyed, Higgs appears to stop the commotion. Just as Higgs is about to unleash his revenge, Raiden appears, who finishes the fight by slicing off Higgs's feet.
Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get.
With the foot fungus on the menu, the remains of Higgs is able to escape for us to fight another day. I seek solitude in the outback, where I am greeted to an albino kangaroo.
Kanga, kanga, kanga!
Ray, ray, ray. Making the return journey to the animal shelter unlocks Rare Specimen Rescuer. Returning to the Magellan, we continue pushing forward to the east coast, which sees us connecting to Woodkid Shelter. Not only is he responsible for crafting a banger of a soundtrack, but he also provides us the required technology for us to develop chiral coffins, enabling a new way to zoom across Australia. The speed that the coffin provides enabled me to return to the Pizza Chef facility, which was graciously opened up to us. When entering the kitchen, we are ambushed by the pizza chef, who wields the powers of the pizza dough.
Man, this 555 deal's really popular. Mr. Trump, here you go, 3 medium pizzas, $5 each.
Thankfully, Sam was able to stand his ground, and as a reward, we are taken under the pizza chef's tutelage and unlocked So You're the Pizza Chef. The coffin also comes in handy when I travel far north to the desolate remains of F3, which is now the home to a BT Nexus. Making the journey unlocks the scars left by the giants. After completing these little strands of detours, I connected which unlocks
Sam the man in the dark about everything.
With a major facility now connected, it only feels right that we get transported to a bizarre beach to seek some answers about Nirvana. Welcome to episode 8, Deluge, which means a severe flood. This beach is actually my favourite so far in the series, as it is set underwater. Travelling the beach makes movement feel effortless and super fun as we soar through the water with no penalty. When tracking down Snake, the water flows into the combat sequence as the battleground feels a lot more three-dimensional, making use of verticality and environmental effects such as freezing water. When the snake is tamed, we grab his ID and investigate his bag, which reveals an explosive baby, ending Sam's time on the beach. Nirvana was actually meant to be pronounced as Neil Varna. In life, Neil worked as a porter, contracted by Bridges, a fellow Doom sufferer. He worked as a smuggler along the Mexico border. Neil sought therapy for Dooms and was revealed to be a patient of Lucy Strand, Sam's wife. Neil's life was ultimately taken away in the very same void out that wiped out Lucy. The story is allowed to breathe as Tomorrow is seen to be more comfortable and in control of her powers. I then make some quick deliveries before being summoned back to the Magellan. This visit is an absolute gut punch. You may recall when Lucy passed in the void out, Sam also lost their unborn child, which was going to be named Lou. That is until medical documents recovered from the pregnancy revealed Neil to be the father, not Sam. In a state of shock, embarrassment, and heartbreak, Fragile attempts to provide comfort, which provides the following response.
I never had any kids. She was just my shrink. helping me to work through my phasmophobia. That's all she ever was to me.
At this point, Sam has so much trauma and grief that would wreck any man. Instead, we look to deliver cargo, as it is obviously the best coping mechanism.
That be bagel delivery. What? I didn't order.
Making a delivery to the Ghost Hunter unlocks Compulsive Cargo Carrier, as it marked our 500th piece of cargo delivered. Prior to leaving, the Ghost Hunter provides some preliminary discussions about a fearsome headless rider. In the mid-19th century, Western New South Wales, drovers told stories of a headless horseman who appeared suddenly at a campsite, mounted and wearing a cloak, who would spook the animals and cause a stampede. It was said to be the ghost of a drover who died at a swamp. Now, in Death Stranding, we have a story cut from the very same cloth, as when we enter onto a highway, we are put face to face with the Ghost Rider. An epic sequence ensues, which sees us narrowly avoid a Lando Norris.
Piastri really reacted well.
Oh.
He's into the grass and they have touched. The front wing has gone. And
Eventually, we're able to dish out enough damage which ends the folklore tale and unlocking the Headless Riders Unmasked. One new very awesome piece of utility is the BT capture grenade, which is provided by the metagenomicist. This grenade does exactly what the name implies and operates similar to a Pokemon system, as once the BT's health bar turns red, a window of opportunity opens up, which enables it to be captured. Doing this for the first time unlocks BT's best friend. The ending of this chapter saw me taking down a fearsome mech fabrication base, and after finding John Marston,
that's quite a scratch you got there. Never thought I'd say this, but it's good to see you, Arthur Morgan.
Or in this instance, it is Indian filmmaker SS Rajamouli. Once the rescue was complete, I unlocked...
His name is Neil. Neil Vanna.
The spooky thread continues to unravel as Hartman is acting strange.
Sorry.
After using Dollman to conduct the reconnaissance, the coast seems to be clear. In a unique twist, Deadman is utilizing Hartman's body during his beach excursions. In a fitting title, welcome to Episode 9, Puppets.
Kobe!
Being in the east coast of Australia proves to be quite a bit chilly, as I straight up proceed to die due to an avalanche. While navigating the tar currents, the Magellan is suddenly dragged by an unknown entity. When surfacing, the entity is revealed to be another giant mech. The situation escalates when Higgs decides to show up and take Fragile hostage. Tamara decides she has had enough. Using her overpowered abilities and the power of feet, Higgs is destroyed, although it only reveals a husk of a mech. To deal with the outside threat, instead of sending out the overpowered abilities of Tamara's feet,
That was perfect.
it is left up to Sam to try and save the Magellan. Thankfully, I experienced no issues with downing the beast. Speaking of Higgs, whatever you do, absolutely do not sleep next to the coffin, as you will be treated to a truly bizarre encounter.
Say, ooh.
Another nightmare occurs when Sam hears a bump in the night. Sam then tries to investigate what the hell is going on. Recovering from these scenes, I explored the photo mode and specifically the various references on offer in relation to Dollman. After taking a photo, I upload it into Sam's private room, which unlocks making it your own. Nearing completion of connecting all of Australia, the path down to Melbourne is plagued with a series of survivalist bases. Destroying each chiral jammer enables Sam to get close to the Southern Environmental Observatory. Unfortunately for Sam, we must endure an absolute onslaught of mechs in order to continue. After putting up my best effort, I was able to connect to the facility, unlocking
Sir, disappointed. But I don't break that easy.
Uh-oh! Itaga!
The flames induced onto Sam are internal flames, which were specifically used to ensure Sam is locked into a cycle of death and rebirth, being a repatriate. A minigame opens up, which tasks us to crawl as far as we can before Sam succumbs to the flames. This is eerily similar to a very specific moment in Metal Gear Solid 4. Tamara and Sam come to the rescue as Tamara straight up launches to Sam's aid. After a close battle between the pair, it was the Magellan's fresh new cannon that ended the fight. Tending to Sam, Rainey was able to save him from eternal suffering, and we all got one big hug after surviving the ordeal. With Sam getting some much needed rest, it has enabled his mind to process some of the unresolved trauma. It was at this point the cookie started to crumble.
What do you think? It's almost like Lou's fading away.
Is that so? And I'd say we're making progress.
Prior to our expedition to Australia, Fragile located Dollman under tragic circumstances. Fragile proposed the offer to Dollman to join her crew, and when Sam was in desperate need of help, Dollman was asked to be Sam's therapist for the journey across Australia, so that he wouldn't be alone.
Do you see? Nothing has changed. The pod has always been empty.
Fragile tries to provide support, but right now, Sam needs to be alone as he can finally mourn Lou. This is episode 10, Isolation. Thankfully, most of the episode has already been completed, as all that is required is for Sam to connect F6, which unlocks...
You will never ever be alone.
As expected, after a major facility is connected, we have our third and soon-to-be final encounter with Neil Varner. This is episode 11, Quake. Set in a subway, we have an absolute awesome scene of fighting through a train. As the fight progresses, it changes to being inverted, and to put the cherry on top, the train starts to fall. Peak cinema, ladies and gentlemen. As we encounter the final sequence, Neil sets the mood.
Just to make it more romantic.
Once the final blow is dealt, flashback scenes occur, which starts in the first time we encounter Neil. As a child, Lucy saved Neil, and they have experienced the same traumatic event together, which is forever marked by the burn mark ingrained on both Neil's and Lucy's hand. When Neil sought therapy, it was pure coincidence that Lucy happened to be his assigned therapist. Neil was being strong-armed by Bridges into smuggling brain-dead mothers in exchange for his freedom. This made him seek console with Lucy, which also made her cross some very questionable ethical boundaries. When Lucy found out she was pregnant with Sam's child, she ended the secret relationship. In our final encounter with Neil, he provides us the following.
From Lucy. For you.
And at the end of this sequence, we unlock...
Keep Lou safe.
The necklace was revealed to be a memory drive, which provided evidence into BB's experiments, but most importantly contained the pregnancy records that Sam was the father of Lucy's child. Lucy knew the first ever child of repatriate would be extremely valuable to Bridges. This made her decide to lie and say Neil was the father to avoid her child being experimented on. Episode 12, Fragile, explodes into action as there's a thrilling sequence along the way to our final destination in Adelaide. Along the final bridge, we are rudely swarmed by another mech onslaught. However, this time, we have the OP power of Raiden on my side.
Snake, Raiden. Europe.
Meet again. Good man. Is that really you?
The awesome dead man is revealed to be Raiden, but he was only able to buy us some time before we had to take down another mech boss. For the most part, I was able to dominate using a heavy machine gun, which made me feel like I was back in Resident Evil 3. Once the mech was defeated, the reward was unlocking.
Don't forget, coming on this expedition was meant to help you find the strength to carry on.
Now that we are well and truly into the endgame,
Sam, we're in the endgame now.
with the amount of cutscenes going to unfold, Dollman even has to give us a warning. When arriving at the bridge, everyone has been put to sleep, with the president awaiting to greet Sam. The president spills the beans and reveals he has been the supplier for Higgs, providing a mech army and supplying the bandits around Death Stranding 2. APAS purposefully supplied these militant groups to provide the world an antagonist. In Death Stranding 1, the threat of an extinction event made us connect all of America. To ensure the world has a reason to connect, APAS designed an entity known as the President to be used as a tool. The unification under a common enemy is one of the most heavily discussed and studied aspects in sociology. After a void out that killed 4,000 people, their souls landed at the same beach which hosted the APAS data center. To keep a very long monologue short, APAS wants to be the caretaker of the inhabitants of Earth, which includes the BTs. This is all to propose the question, should we have connected? It's a philosophical debate on if APAS is evil or not, and many will have different opinions, and I would love to hear yours down in the comment section below. As for right now, the president is interrupted by Charlie. Charlie, the absolute Chad, decides to hijack the 5-minute tangent with a dance. When Sam wakes up, our old friend in Die Hardman presents himself. This is the intro to episode 13, Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
The legendary Die Hardman was actually posing as Charlie and breaks the fourth wall for the more attentive gamers.
I dare say there are some among you who already deduced the name's double meaning. That's right. The DHV Magellan. Or to spell it out, Die Hardman's vessel.
Die Hardman goes around waking up each of our team members while providing the message that human connection is necessary, completely contradicting APAS and the President's message. The conversation is concluded by the activation of drawbridge across the continents, a hopeful step towards a peaceful future. The team can't celebrate as Raiden appears. This time it isn't Deadman, as Raiden seals Tomorrow into a tar coffin.
What the fuck?
This time Raiden reveals himself to be the one and only Higgs, who is remotely logged in from the beach. Higgs has a plan to utilize Tomorrow as the catalyst to be a brand new extinction entity. In the earlier battle between Higgs and Tomorrow, he stole some of her hair, which gave a perfect match to Sam's genetics.
God damn, man. She's your daughter.
What? After this casual lore drop, Tomorrow and Higgs depart for the beach, which marks the end of the most gameplay riveting episode, as we unlock...
To forsake our flesh and our freedom is out of the question.
Fragile confirms the genetic match, and the fact that Tomorrow is Sam's daughter. Die Hardman provides insight that Sam had to provide sperm samples when becoming a member of Bridges. Thus, there was potential Tomorrow was born through artificial insemination. Turning our heads to following Higgs and saving Tomorrow, Sam requires a memento to make the jump to the beach. As such, the team look to navigate through the tar to Sam's shelter in Mexico. This is the setup for episode 14, Last Stranding. Sam sadly gets a rude awakening as the Magellan is unable to navigate the tar due to unstable currents. This means we have another segment like in Death Stranding 1, where we have the opportunity to reflect on the journey so far as we travel back to Mexico. Passing through the plate gate reveals Mexico to be in a state of despair. Along the way to Sam's shelter, we are rudely interrupted by the one, the only, Gerald. Gerald works quickly on offense as I am picked up and consumed, causing a void out. The second attempt went a lot more swimmingly, as I unleash my arsenal weapons onto Gerald. Once the health bar turns red, I unleash my capture grenade, and through a successful direct hit, I'm rewarded with my very own pet Gerald. Returning to Sam's shelter, we find the memento we require in the form of the photo of Lucy, Bridget, and Sam. Exiting the shelter and boarding the Magellan concludes the episode, unlocking.
We have to get tomorrow back.
The crew are ready to strap in for our final hurdle. We're preparing for the jump. Fragile and Sam finally kiss in a moment that deepens their connection. They aren't alone as the whole crew are shown together. The Magellan is spat out onto the beach, and Die Hardman commands the vessel with precision as we're in the endgame now. Sam is dropped off while the Magellan provides the aerial support. What unfolds is an epic cinematic where Sam sprints along the beach, with the Magellan being one large bait for all BTs. Supergiant BTs appear and turn into a Power Ranger by acquiring new hands, a new head, and arguably most coolest, a pair of wings. Tarman does his best to navigate the overwhelming odds, but the team look to an old friend for assistance.
Can you handle it?
The Magellan blasts off the head of a supergiant BT, and we see a familiar friend awaiting our next move. Hartman is linked up to Deadman, and we are introduced to the badass Super BT Magellan. With the Magellan's final form now assembled, Hartman starts throwing Hailmakers, which proves pivotal in winning the war effort. Continuing our run along the beach, we come across Raiden for our final encounter. Thankfully, we're able to actually experience the fight this time. After enough lax, Raiden drops to the ground and is absorbed by the tar. This enables us to focus on the real threat in Higgs himself. The first stage of the fight is through a battle of guitar strings, a game of cat and mouse and shoes, where I try to poke enough damage while avoiding any reciprocal damage. Once the final hit lands, Higgs jumps onto the supergiant BT to utilize the APAS servers as dominoes in an attempt to destroy us. The second stage continues where we left off, and this time, after landing the final hit, we see tomorrow as the extinction plan is progressing. When Higgs jumps Sam, of course his shirt comes off, as we're setting up another Macho v Macho fight. Before beginning, my favourite part of the game occurs.
That old familiar feeling kept you waiting, huh?
Kept you waiting, huh?
With that awesome reference, our final showdown with Higgs unfolds. This fight just oozed the aura of Liquid vs Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1, which I'm all for by the way, as this was very memorable boss fight. After enough damage is dealt, a guitar solo matchup initiates, and after winning the minigame, Higgs is knocked back. After some very slow movements, we are able to finally finish Higgs in an epic anime-worthy finale. Our efforts may have been for naught, as tomorrow is consumed by the void, seemingly triggering the last stranding. Unexpectedly, a baby appears from the nether, which is revealed to be a giant version of Baby Lou. In a goated move, Lou decides to straight up eat Higgs, which ends his multiple game spanning terror over Sam. After the thumbs up, Lou flies into the void, which enables Amelie to show up, and Fragile also making a special appearance, but this time holding a baby. We are pushed into the water one final time as I unlock.
And remember, I'll always be with you.
Episode 16, Tomorrow, starts as a soft reboot back to the prologue, but this time Mexico has some snow. When returning to Sam's shelter, the Magellan gives us a jump scare, and Sam is transported back to the beach with Tomorrow. When returning to the Magellan, not all is well, as Sam is informed that Fragile is dead.
What?
When Higgs shot Fragile, her body and soul were separated. On the beach, her soul had long passed, but her physical body remained. A new flashback unfolds, which is narrated by Fragile. She explains that Lou communicated with the souls on the beach. Fragile left Lou with these souls, and when her body awoke, she had no memory of what had happened. This is where our good friend in Nirvana comes in. Lucy knew that Bridges were going to be after the baby of a repatriate, which is where Lucy asked Neil.
Help me keep Lou safe.
Neil agrees, and Lucy gives the thumb drive, which contains all of the medical records. On the mission to smuggle Lucy out of Bridges, we find the flowers from our third encounter.
just to make it more romantic.
During the exfil, Neil has the unfortunate timing of running into the man who has been forcing his hand and pulling the strings for Neil's criminal actions. Neil pulls out a gun, but Lucy is caught from a stray shot from reinforcements. While protecting Lucy, reinforcements are let in, which immediately takes out the threat that Neil presents. Still following Neil's perspective, we overhear Lou has been extracted as BB-00. When checking Neil's face, they are terrified as it reveals late stage of necrosis. We then leave Neil's perspective and find Sam, who has found Lucy. When attempting to leave with her, the void out is triggered, leaving Sam the sole survivor. Bringing us back to Lou, Fragile's soul transported Lou to the soul that called out to Lou. We see Fragile take the mantelpiece, traversing through the different stages where we face Neil. This culminates in Lou being placed into the pod, which through the powers of Kojima unveils into tomorrow. When Tomorrow wakes up with no memories, Neil is there to protect her, keeping his last promise to Lucy, which is to keep Lou safe. After making the jump back to Mexico, both Tomorrow and Sam know the true origins of their relationship.
I'm here, Louise.
Yeah.
After this awesome ending, the game turns full Witcher 3 as Tomorrow is hinted to be the next great porter. I for one would be so ready for Death Stranding 3, but for now a reward for completing Death Stranding 2 is...
Death can't tear us apart.
At the end game screen, my final statistics include 366,000 likes, 42 hours of playtime and 229 kilometers travelled through the off-roader. Episode 17, One Day, is our epilogue episode, and just like the first game, we're given liberty to explore Australia and Mexico after the credits have rolled. In a surprising statistic, Kojima revealed 79% of players have continued their porting journey after completing the game. My first priority was connecting all of Australia to the Chiral network, and there's one facility that remains locked until you have completed the game. This facility is home to Adelaide Legends Raka Raka. Raka Raka's facility is known as Mr. Impossible, and this is the final facility that needed connecting for the trophy. Keep on connecting to unlock. Another returning feature was Sam's Porter grade. The trophy, a Premier Porter, tasked Sam with obtaining a grade of 40 or higher in each of the categories. The easiest category was Bridge Link, as it received a tremendous amount of likes by the time I finished the game. I also found by the time the game was completed, Porter and Servicemanship grades were achieved naturally through regular cargo deliveries. This left categories Combat and Stealth. For Combat, I took as many orders as possible, which tasked me with defeating bandits or BTs. What was the tipping point was summoning Gerald, who was able to absolutely annihilate everything in his path. Thanks to Gerald, the combat grade easily went past 40. The final category, Stealth, proved to be a bit more grindy than I was expecting. This is partially due to my habit of jetpacking into dangerous situations and asking questions later. To focus on the trophy, I prioritised retrieving cargo from both bandits and BTs without being seen. Once grade 40 in all categories was achieved, a Premier Porter unlocked. Backtracking to when I completed the game, Sam has the option to toggle between enabling or disabling the drawbridge Cupid. The advantages of enabling this system will make Death Stranding 2's endgame a bit more cozier, as it affects the spawn rate of BTs and Ghost Mechs. I was trying to obtain 5-star in all facilities when I stopped into the Ghost Hunter's facility with the drawbridge Cupid enabled. This unexpectedly unlocked the real story of the Ghost Hunter, as Dolman says this must mean the Ghost Hunter is actually a BT. My next side quest was actually my favourite in the whole game. When connecting the fisherman, he will slowly allude to the Lord of the Tar Lake. After summoning BT bait for the Lord to consume, a massive whale emerges from the depths.
Look up, a whale!
To go on the offensive, I summon Gerald, which leads to a giant BT kaiju battle between the pair. When the Lord's health drops to red, I Kobe a BT grenade, which successfully ends the fight, unlocking Showdown at the Tar Lake. In some much needed downtime, I fabricate every structure in the game, which unlocks Master Builder. I am super grateful I didn't have to upgrade every structure to level 3 or fabricate every item like I did in the first game. For the final side mission related trophy relates to our BT friend, the Ghost Hunter. After nearly maxing out his connection, he seeks our help to stop F8 from falling victim to a Void Out. The Void Out threat is one of the supergiant BTs, which provides an awesome final battle for us to take down. Naturally, I couldn't take on the fight without Gerald, and once summoned, he was able to demolish the supergiant BT. And once the fight was over, I unlocked Saviour of Terminal Fort Knot. The final grind that remains is the Connecting Hearts and Minds trophy, which asks Sam to raise maximum connection with all facilities. In the first game, I heavily relied upon my zipline network to quickly zoom me across America and connect all remaining facilities. Across Mexico and Australia, the game made it tremendously easy for me to never leave the comfort of my truck. Previous steeper terrain is no match for Death Stranding 2's goated truck. This is even reflected in my stats about how far I travelled in each traversal option, with the truck utterly smashing any other method. Along the way to 5-starring every facility, I unlocked Season Porter for getting 10 unique S-rank grades in 3 types of standard orders. My favourite facility to connect was by far the animal shelter, as it provided an excuse for me to rescue every animal I came across. Or what I found hilarious was when I accidentally stepped on an echidna. Sam had to hobble around noting the spines until it healed. After maxing out connection with all facilities, Mr. Impossible had one final order for us to complete. Sub-order 124 asked Sam with collecting 7 fragile Carl sculptures. Sounds a bit challenging, but should be simple, right? Well, the difficulty occurs when each Carl sculpture is placed in 7 different enemy camps all around Australia, and Sam has to deliver them to Mr. Impossible within 50 minutes. To prepare for the game's hardest challenge, I opted for the Tri-Cruiser, as I think the clock will be my biggest enemy. Within the first 3 minutes, I managed to get my Tri-Cruiser stuck. With the clock ticking, I cut my losses and opt for the jetpack to succeed in the challenge. I embraced the charge in and ask questions later method, but the problem with this approach is that I forgot the contents were fragile, meaning if they are destroyed, potentially I fail the challenge. At least for the first encampment, I escaped without harm. The second package, I am a lot more sneaky, as I'm able to grab and dash before being shot.
Great success.
13 minutes into the challenge, I returned to jetpacking into danger, and find the next package was being carried by a bandit. Once he is disposed of, the package takes some fall damage, but I quickly flee the scene of the crime, as the time limit is ever ticking. With 4 more packages remaining, I am consumed by some BTs, which makes me ditch yet another Tri-Cruiser which I had utilised. By this point, I completely ditched both strategy and rationality by collecting the 4th, 5th and 6th. Under the halfway mark, I was a little concerned the travel time back to Mr. Impossible could make things hairy. To eliminate the risk, I caught the monorail, which proved essential. The final package was stashed away in a bandit's off-roader, and when I tried escaping, I thought I had failed when a grenade exploded right under the off-roader. Through sheer luck, the contents survived, enabling me to drive to Mr. Impossible with less than 17 minutes remaining. Making it to the doorstep of Mr. Impossible with more than 9 minutes remaining, and once it was connected, the maximum connection was achieved, which unlocked... Wait for it. Which unlocked absolutely nothing due to the one they call the Adventurer. Despite rescuing the Adventurer countless times, the progress was seemingly stuck so close to the maximum connection. Noting I had completed all available orders, I kept logging in daily to see if the orders had refreshed. I even left my PS5 on overnight, which proved fruitless. After a full week, the sub-orders were finally refreshed, and I was able to finally platinum Death Stranding 2. After making short work of the orders, I was tantalizingly close to the maximum connection. Maybe just one more order. Delivering the requirements for the last order available to me proved no luck, as the connection was seemingly bugged. With no hope remaining, I took an in-game nap. And when waking up, I discovered a SSS post which revealed the Adventurer was missing. The Adventurer decided it would be a wonderful idea to scope out a BT area, Little did I know I would trigger a void out. Surprisingly, it wasn't a void out. I was able to rescue the adventurer for surely the final time, while being in the crater of F3 causes a pair of mantra rays to spawn. With only one thing on my mind, I bail for the exit, but not before Gerald was able to exercise the BTs. Being lifted through another void out portal, I deliver the adventurer home as I wait for the coveted platinum pop. The connection finally maxes out, which unlocks connecting hearts and minds, and finally, Death Stranding 2's platinum trophy. In the end, Death Stranding 2 took 70 hours to complete, 79 hours if I'm including the AFK time. I don't carry the same admiration for the second game when compared to the first. While I love the Australia setting, the overuse and reliance of the off-roader took away the charm. With Kojima coming out to say he wants someone else to make Death Stranding 3, who knows when we might be stepping back into this world. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. This is Neuronity, and I will catch you in the next one.